Welcome to the Language Alchemy Podcast, where you explore how our language and communication patterns directly impact our lives and relationships, and where you get transformative communication tools to bring forth more authenticity and compassion to all your relationships. Thank you for joining me today. This is your host, Alejandra Siroka, a communication teacher and coach who is devoted to helping multicultural individuals, change makers, and couples engaged in personal growth experience the lives and relationships they long for through the power of transformative communication. Today, I'm inviting you to explore the topic that's very close to my heart: the transformative power of checking in about the impact of our words. One of the most profound acts of love we can offer another person is to circle back with them and ask, how did my words impact you? I know it takes courage to communicate consciously and skillfully, and it takes humility to check about the impact of our communication. When we take that step to check in, we are essentially telling the other person, you matter to me. I care about your experience, and I care about you. Checking in about our impact is a form of love, of communicating love out loud. I want to share a story that happened just last week. I was having tea with my dear friend Nora, and we were discussing a variety of topics, including some challenging ones around the current immigration policies in the United States, where we both live. The conversation was respectful, and it had its passionate moments. It had its moments in which we were wondering ideas and beliefs out loud, and moments of some disagreements. Yet, we both love and respect each other very much. At some point, we naturally moved on to another topic. The next day, I received a text message from her that touched me deeply. She wrote, I've been thinking about our conversation yesterday, and I wanted to check in. How did you feel about what I said regarding immigration? That simple text message did something very powerful. It took our friendship to an even deeper level. Her checking in showed me how much she values our friendship, and because of that, she wanted to make sure how her words had landed in me. Honestly, when I got her message, I wasn't thinking of the time we spent together as a time in which we just talked about our opinions, feelings, and beliefs about the current political situation in the United States. And it wasn't just about another particular topic we also discussed, because we talked about so many things. This message highlighted that our time together was about connection, about our willingness to be vulnerable with one another, and about our mutual commitment to be authentic with each other. Receiving her message was such a beautiful experience of love. Whether we agreed or disagreed became unimportant. What became even more important was that we now had a true sense of connection in which our bond is so strong that it can hold having disagreements. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I like giving you transformative communication tools you can put into practice right away. And if this is your first time listening, thank you, and now you know. So get ready, because I have a powerful transformative communication tool I want to share with you now. I'm going to call it the Impact Check-in Practice. I broke this practice down into 6 steps. They're simple enough that you can put this practice into use right after you finish listening to this episode. And it is so powerful that you can use it in any relationship you would like to deepen. Now, this is the time when I tell you, grab a pen and paper and take notes, or open your note app. And of course, you can do that. But if you would like to just relax and listen right now, I have made a quick reference guide for you, which you can download from languagealchemy.com/impact check-in. In that quick guide, you will have all 6 steps I'm talking about here. And these 6 steps are: number 1, generate the intention of creating a container of safety in which the other person is more likely to feel open to share about the impact of your words with you. This step happens in your internal dialogue. You can say to yourself, I want to be someone with whom you feel safe to share how my communication impacts you. Number 2, you are now ready to initiate the impact checking practice. Notice your tone of voice. Then you may say something such as, I've been reflecting on our conversation about, and you mentioned the topic. Number 3, depending on the other person, be explicit about what you care about. We've been talking a lot about safety and connection as the core relational values in previous episodes. And I've been going even deeper in the newsletters I sent every Wednesday. So if you want to know more about safety and connection, check out episodes 160 and 161. And also, since you're there, sign up for the Language Alchemy newsletter at languagealchemy.com. Going back to the step number 3, depending on the core relational values you have and you may know about the other person, be explicit about them and say something such as, I've been reflecting on our conversation and I care about our relationship. Or, I've been reflecting about our conversation and I care about you. Or, I want to check in with you about how my words impacted you. As always, choose words that express your genuine expression. Number 4, ask an open-ended question about the impact. For example, you could ask, how did you feel about what I shared? Or, what was your experience of our discussion? Or, how did my opinion about immigration policies land in you? Number 5, and this is crucial, listen without defensiveness. Remember your intention of creating a safe container. If you get defensive after you ask a question about impact, then that safety will evaporate. You asked to understand and to show your love and your care, not to explain yourself. Step number 6, the final step, express gratitude for their honesty and share what you heard from them or what you learned about the impact. You may say something such as, thank you for telling me how my words landed in you. Or, I really appreciate you told me how you felt. That's it. And now, let me offer some practical scenarios where you can practice this. One possibility where you can put this into practice is that after a team meeting where different opinions were expressed, you can send a quick message to a colleague saying something such as, I appreciated your perspective today, and I wanted to check in with you how my response to your ideas was for you. Or let's say that you had a family discussion about a sensitive topic. So then, if you're still there in person, create a quiet moment with that family member and check the impact. You can say something such as, I've been thinking about our conversation. How did you feel about what I shared? Let me give you another scenario. Maybe you are participating in a community discussion. After the meeting is over, maybe the next day or a couple of days later, you can reach out to someone who expressed a different viewpoint. You may say something such as, I value hearing your perspective and I'd love to understand how our discussion impacted you. Now, Perhaps you are thinking, but Alejandra, what if I hear something I don't want to hear? What if I learn I've hurt someone unintentionally? Well, that is where the real growth happens. This practice isn't about being perfect or about receiving validation. It's about being present, about creating a deeper sense of connection and being committed to growing as a conscious human being. Now that you've heard about these 6 steps and scenarios where you can put them into practice, I'd like to offer you a challenge. Identify 3 conversations you've had recently about meaningful topics. Choose one with someone in your inner circle of people, one with a colleague or acquaintance, and one with someone who holds a different view from yours. Then reach out to each person and check in about the impact of your words. If you're unsure about what to say, download the quick reference guide, which, by the way, is completely free, and you'll have all 6 steps there. You can find it at languagealchemy.com/impact check-in. You will find the link in the show notes. Checking impact isn't about collecting praise or fishing for compliments. It's about deepening understanding, strengthening connections, and showing up in the world as the conscious, mature, and loving adult you are. Before we recap what you've heard today, I want to share something important with you. This month of February, as many countries celebrate love and connection, I invite you to take a special step. Reach out to those people who have been on your mind, the ones whose conversations you keep replaying in your head. Ask them how they felt after talking with you, or how they feel about what you said about a particular topic. It is such a profound act of love and care. And in case you needed to hear this, I have complete trust in your ability to do this. If you'd like to dive deeper into these communication tools and practices, you can visit languagealchemy.com to check out the upcoming group offerings and courses coming later in the year. If you prefer to work with me one-on-one or with your partner, know that while I am currently deep into book writing and have limited availability, I do have a spot or 2 for individual and couple communication coaching. If you are interested in a consultation, you can find all the details on the website, languagealchemy.com. And now, let's recap what you've heard in this episode. Today, we talked about communicating love to others by checking in with them about the impact that our words had on them. I shared a personal story that inspired me to create this episode for you. I taught you a 6-step impact check-in practice. I also told you that I created a quick reference guide with each step to help you have these conversations, and you can download that. I'll have the link in the show notes. I also gave you scenarios of how you can put this practice into use right away. And I left you with some homework to check the impact with 3 people in your life. And finally, I gave you some extra resources to check out podcast episode 160 and 161. And I highly encouraged you to sign up for the newsletter, because it is in the Language Alchemy newsletter that I give you tools I do not share anywhere else. Finally, I want to leave you with this thought. Every time you check in about impact, you're not just building stronger relationships. You are contributing to a more empathic and understanding world. You are showing others that it is possible to communicate across differences, to care deeply about impact, and to grow through dialogue. In these times of increasing polarization and disconnection, this practice becomes not just important, but essential. It is how we build bridges instead of walls. It's how we create the kind of world we want to live in, one conversation at a time. If you found value in today's episode, please share it with someone who might benefit from these tools. And don't forget, leave a review or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you so much for listening. Until next episode, and as we say in Argentina, ciao ciao. Original music by Gary Lapo. You can find all links in the show notes at languagealchemy.com.